is the Vintage RPG Podcast, your source for the best in classic and contemporary RPGs. With your hosts, Hambone and Stu.
Welcome to the RPG Podcast, coming at you again from the clubhouse in somewhere in the swamps of New Jersey. I'm John Hambone McGuire, and with me, as always, is the founder and publisher of Unwinnable. I'd like to say that he's truly outrageous, but he kind of keeps it at a very demure pace these days. Stu Horvath.
I don't think anybody's ever called me truly outrageous.
I know, but I had to try to find a way to tie the joke into the episode because our friend Megan Dawson Jaffe is here tonight to talk about Holomatics, a brand new Kickstarter, which is an 80s pop RPG of totally audacious secret rock stars. It's live right now on Kickstarter. Literally a friend from around the way in the neighborhood down in the Jersey City, which is a town away from us. How you doing tonight, Megan?
I am doing okay.
So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about Holomatics?
All right. So Holomatics is, as you said, it's a game based in the 80s. And it is within it, you play secret pop stars. You started out as normal teens, and then you heard the music, and you encountered this being Rhapsody, who gifted you with these powers of the flip side, the video sphere, this atmosphere of media that's all around the earth. And now you have powers of perception, and you can use those to help defend the earth from both threats without and within, its own apathy, and the alien parasites that are kicking around town, as one does.
Tuesday shit.
Yeah.
Man, I wish it was that easy to get rid of the alien parasites,
Oh, if I could squit it diddle it now, like guitar blow and
I would love that so much.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a different world. Totally different world.
So we like to imagine that.
So, I mean, this is very reminiscent of, things that I grew up with in the 80s. And it definitely has the color scheme of things that make you think of fun and rock and roll and, high energy pleasure. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about the influence behind Holomatics?
So obviously our top influences are, this is a love letter to Gem and the Holograms, like Barbie and the Rockers, Barbie herself, the Pink Isle in general, the sort of so you'll get to hear me trot out a couple of terms that I like to use and I've come up with while working on all of this stuff. The Pink Isle is technically it's a gender neutral term. It is the part of the toy section that was marketed towards girls in the 80s, but to have participated in Pink Isle play or to have dealt with Pink Isle dolls, you do not have to necessarily have been female or still be female. And also part of it is towards the unhinged nature of Pink Isle play, because I'll tell you, as someone who grew up playing with a lot of Barbie dolls, the intended nurturing, wholesome, career-based play was not really the games that we were playing with these dolls. There was betrayal. There was a lot of pushing off of cliffs. There was definitely backstabbing and all kinds of unhinged ideas that we were working through with these otherwise innocuous dolls.
So basically, Days of Our Lives in the Mojo Dojo Casa House.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, that movie hit. So that's the surface of it. You get a little deeper into it, and you come to just the effect of MTV. MTV, music videos had their own kind of logic in them. I compare it to cartoon logic in some ways. You walk off a cliff and you can stand there for a moment before you fall. There's the same sort of things in videos. Like I was talking about earlier, you strum a guitar, you can blow somebody through a wall. You think someone's sexy enough, you can all of a sudden turn into a panther. If if
Great
the
work if
beat
you could
is
find it.
if
Yeah,
the beat
right.
is sick enough that you can dance on the ceiling. Like there are these strange rules and these strange things that and that those kind of got consolidated in a deep cut, which I love to trot out, which is Kid Video. Kid Video was a cartoon in the 80s that was basically, it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons cartoon plot, where it's like an early isekai, really. Like these kids get pulled from the normal world into this wild world of music videos, and they're trying to get back. But because it was rampant deregulation, uh it was all of the hit videos were getting, like, this thing can never be reshown because it's all the rights would be an entire mess. It's all the videos of like the day.
I've never heard of this.
Oh my
Oh
god, it's a
yeah.
fever dream. You can
I
find it on Kid Video.
oh
You can find it on YouTube. My bad.
yeah, I just found it. I was typing it in, like, because I was just like, this can't be real. Like, I just didn't believe you for a minute, because it just, like, I feel like I have a context for like everything, and I this is bonkers.
So a friend of mine, after I like posted the launch today, was like, so I don't remember Kid Video, but I can still sing the theme song. It's one of those, like,
It's the kind of ephemera.
earworm things. Yeah,
You know?
ephemera. Ephemera is a better word for it.
It's a fever dream, of
Yeah,
the
it
latchkey
is.
kids.
It's like,
God.
yeah, it's just this weird Peter Max world of what videos are like on the inside, and yeah, borrowed heavily from that. And then into sort of the more live action stuff. Buckaroo Banzai
Oh
is
yeah, yeah.
a big influence on this. And from there, that kind of goes, so because it's Buckaroo Banzai is kind of a male version of Gem, like pop star, but also
Whoa.
Holy
right,
crap.
right,
Holy shit.
but also philanthropist, but also like brain surgeon, because Barbie was all of those things, which is why Gem had to be all of those things.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I truly did not expect tonight's podcast to be so full of revelation.
That is the second, like, weird, anecdotal thing that was mentioned to me or that I saw on the internet this week that absolutely broke my brain. The first one is that a corn dog is just a beef Wellington from a different a different societal demographic.
I need to sit in the dark and think about my life. What the
Right?
fuck?
Oh man.
Different, like, socioeconomic levels, but they're the same thing.
Oh shit, yeah,
Jeez.
man.
I'm gonna have to watch Buckaroo Banzai again this weekend, and
Yes, you are. You absolutely
to
are.
really like bring this full circle.
Bring this around.
And
Okay, so from Buckaroo Banzai, where you have the like alien invasion from another dimension, to They Live,
okay.
which is another 80s property that deals with the power of media, but like the dark side of it.
Yeah.
And the thing about, I mean, with Gem, obviously you have the Misfits, who are top 10 villains of the 80s. I will die on that hill.
And very litigious today as well.
Yeah. Listen, Glenn Danzig would bow before pizzazz in like 5 fucking seconds, if not less.
And we've all seen variety comics. We get it.
No.
Oh,
Woo!
Ah,
Ooh.
zing.
Ooh.
yicky.
So you have the sort of insidious, like, capitalist aspect of media, because we wanted something to like push back against, and also wraps kind of back around again to Gem, to Eric. Oh god, what is his last name? He's the manager of the Misfits, but he's basically there to be king capitalist slimeball the entire time.
Yeah.
He is there to just try to make as much money off of, like, I don't know, orphan tears as he possibly can. So like that all pulled together, and then like deep below, you were talking about the colors before and sort of the saturation and the pop colors of it. One of our other influences for this is Dario Argento and Suspiria specifically.
I literally just read a breakdown of how crappy James Cameron's 4K HD things are that use Suspiria's 4K remaster as like an example, and it showed screenshots of how much more like vibrations of red that you can see.
Oh my God.
And it's
just
crazy. Just like pure like it's been on my mind. Another thing that I really wanted to revisit, because it like I literally read about this last week, is just like this is like it capturing like
just the color is so thick, and there's also these sort of undercurrents of like performance and femininity and like but in a darker way. So this is a thing with a lot of our games. Rememorex, obviously suburban 80s horror, so like there's this sort of lighter 80s mystery on top of it, the like kid mystery, but often that delved into horror. You get into your Gremlins, you go from ET to Gremlins, you go from there to Chucky. Like there are levels down. With Commandroids, obviously you have like the Transformers and stuff on top, but we were finding inspiration from Cronenberg for the body horror aspect of it, of like what it would be to be melded with a machine, because these are our properties from when we were kids, and they affected us in certain ways as children. As adults, you kind of have to raise the stakes.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you're talking about body horror. Let's peel it back a layer.
Yeah.
Even being melded with a robot. I know, as I said, it felt gross, but we're going to play through. But when you think about what a transformer actually does, bending and reshaping its body to turn from one thing into another, it's kind of horrific in its own way.
Like
the contortion of it all.
We only have sketches of it, but the whole idea is that the reason that the good guys are called Symbitrons is because it's a symbiotic relationship. So like there is the pilot gets to maintain their identity and their wholeness while being in a partnership with the robot. For the Nemesites, for the bad guys, like you're literally taken apart. You're used for parts. Like your body is sort of spread throughout the machine.
Really giving brand new context to that sound effect.
Yeah.
Right? You can't unhear it now.
Like one of the images from the book is like there's this idea of kind of a trap flower. Like one of Sean's first adventures is there's just a beautiful White Lotus Esprit with a door open, and you get close to it and you have to roll perception, and if you make it, you notice that it stinks like blood. And if you sit down and you put your hands on the wheel, you get hooks through your hands.
So you got some Hellraiser in there as well, some Barker.
Well, a little bit. We're saving the most of that for the next in the series, Myrmidons of Midcaria, which will be our sci-fi barbarian world. So, your He-Man, your She-Ra, your Thundercats. The inspiration for the horror there is Clive Barker.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Skeletor plus Pinhead. What could be better?
I mean, you're pre-selling a book, but let's swing back the other direction.
Yes. Yeah, we go back to the one that we're actually working on. Yes.
Now, one thing I think I want to address with this is that it runs off the Omni System. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about the Omni System, because this is a house system that runs through all of your different books from Rememorex, Holomatixx, and Commandroids.
Yes, so it actually started with a little like time travel game that that Sean wrote while we were working on a completely different system called Tempest Omni, which is what gave it the name the Omni System. But it is a extremely simple narrative heavy system that's just based on six-sided dice, three stats that you as the player make up, and then depending on the additive property, whether it's a robot or a rock and roll persona, you add different stats onto that, and it is a basic stat pool that you roll against a difficulty set by your GM, your director, and it's very straightforward. The three basic stats are type, training, and talent, and that kind of runs through all of the different things. Is you start with your archetype, like your personality archetype. You go through your training, what it is you know, and then your talent, what it is that makes you special. So as a human, this is very like up to interpretation and evocative. To give it a little context, for the type we use the John Hughes archetypes, the athlete, the basket case, the brain, the criminal, and the princeling.
Okay.
But then you want to like personalize that with an adjective. So the unhinged criminal, the mischievous princeling. Ferris Bueller would be a good mischievous princeling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, your training is what you know how to do, but that can be like Atari God. That could be rules lawyer. It's meant to evoke like your character as a person, and then your talent is even more sort of we encourage song lyrics for it, for like what it is that kind of makes you different. So like Material Girl, Born to Run. One of our first characters talent was Rainbow in the Dark.
Perfect song.
Yeah. So those are your first stats, and then with Holomatixx, your second set of stats for your persona, for the person you turn into, like the gem to your Jerica. So your Jerica is like your initial teen person. Your gem is the persona.
God, I forgot that her name is Jerica.
Yep.
Yeah, Jerica Benton.
It's a tough one. Go on. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. So the first set is scene. So that's like the kind of music you play. And obviously there's all different like types of music. We have picked a selection of the popular ones from the 80s. So there's like electro, heavy metal, punk, hip hop, soul, pop. So that's your scene. And you can pick more than one because you can kind of blend them together to adjust what you want your scene to be. So if you want to do ska, you can do punk and reggae.
Okay. Fair play.
Again, like as part of the full book, we will provide advice for making your own scenes, because like there are other things that were like super popular in the 80s, like Selena, Salsa. The eventual expansion book from this is going to be Holomatics World Tour, where we get into more of the music from the rest of the fucking world other than the United States. Anyway, so that's scene. And then your gig, which is the instrument you play. So keys, axes, wind, moves, because dancing is important.
I mean, Ben Carr made a career of it, you know?
I mean, it's the one that I keep bringing up is Prince, but Prince is difficult because Prince had fucking all of them, because it's the axes and the voice and the moves.
Yeah, I mean, there's always in any RPG,
and the keys,
and the keys, you know, like, you know, video, making the videos and shooting stuff. Like, I mean,
yeah,
in any RPG, there's always one archetype that eventually comes out that just flat out breaks the game, like completely flat out. Like there's no way around it. Like you're not saying that this character is God, but have you met Prince?
It's so true. And then the last one, the one that makes you special. So this is an interesting thing, actually. So that stat in our games has tended to be the toyetics of the world and of these characters. In lore, these are the houses of a long lost alien civilization, because our synergy is Rhapsody, who is a frequency from a long lost alien civilization who's come to Earth to help us fight against things that are coming.
Rock.
Yeah, with the power of rock. Honestly, the whole idea of Rhapsody is that just a planet was being attacked and they rocked so fucking hard that they just blew their own selves up and blew their opponents into another dimension.
Beautiful.
And that song is Rhapsody. So the sort of memory of those people is contained in the house. But it's also like, it relates to like drag houses and like artistic schools, and like there's this tendency to group stuff. But it is also the type of toy you are. So there's the Chiaro, who are like they're the light. They're bubbly, they like to laugh, it's their whole thing. But they're also the toys that light up. So you have a light power. There are the Phantoma. They're quiet. They're the stagers. They help to make things happen in the backseat. They have a little friend. They have a Glomer. From the flip side.
Love it.
And that's their thing. There is the Riviera, who are the like tech, the tech enabled, and they're like just obsessed with technology. There's the Fantasia, who are the hair. They're literally the hair toys. Like one of their things is they have hair in an unusual color, and it's always like long or doesn't necessarily need to be long, but it's always perfect.
Right.
And it's the same as we did with Commandroids. So with the Matrix stat, that was your like you were a triple changer, or you were a primacron. You could turn into an animal, or you had like a fixed weapon. That was your whole thing. So, Hambone, like much earlier on, you talked about the Radical Shadows universe, and I'm gonna tail into that is because these sort of blended properties all come from this memory of play from these toys and cartoons. Something that we do try to evoke is like the physical memory of that play as well, is like to have some of what it was to physically play with those toys in the game.
Yeah, so basically what it sounds like is you're one expansion away from actually being able to play the Sears Wish book, which...
No, literally we want this to be a toy box game.
Yeah, amazing.
Like at the end of this, you will be able to have your Transformer next to your Gem Doll, next to your He-Man, next to your My Little Pony.
Done and done.
With like your Mad Ball and your G.I. Joe in the back. They'll be the zine games.
I love it. And that's great. I think that was a good little segue into the Radical Shadows universe, which, we touched on it a little bit earlier with, mentioning Rememorex and the Commandroids, but, the Omni System I think is great because it really does lend itself to, and it is a pain point for a lot of gamers out there when they think about picking up something new. It's like, how hard is this going to be? And not even so much how hard is it going to be for me to learn? How hard is it going to be for me to get my friends to wrap their heads around playing it? But I will tell you, God, it had to be 7-8 years ago. Came by the clubhouse and ran Rememorex. Like,
yeah, one of my top 5 like role playing experiences ever
in the clubhouse. Yeah,
hands down. I was thinking when I was waiting
so fucking good at it.
Oh my god, like he got our friend Sean to like deliver this line that I remember. He was like everybody was all the other kids were like being crappy, including like me and Hambone's kids, and like Sean's kid was like the garbage kid, and he said, I may be a garbage kid, but you all have garbage hearts to get us to
Oh
go
my
along with
God.
this.
I remember that goddamn line.
It was just so good. I like it was just like a perfect moment, and
Yeah.
it lives in my head constantly.
Yeah.
That is a big part of it, is that like we have these fantastical worlds, obviously. All of it has an anchor in like the mundanity of that these are kids who are dreaming of a better world. These are kids who like have reasonably pure hearts and want to save the day, you know, when they aren't garbage, that is.
Yeah. I mean, we were being garbage. I don't think we were garbage, but
Well, yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, but Sean, and I'll tell you this,
Yeah.
I've been a dungeon master for a long time, Stu even longer than I. But
Mhm.
I play real loosey goosey. I don't do any kind of prep work. I'm just you show up, we're gonna order pizza, people are gonna kill things. Bob's your uncle. Sean shows up to Stu's house and he puts up this like majestic dungeon master screen. And look, we're just gonna call it dungeon master for now. What do you call the dungeon master? The director, right? So he puts
Yeah.
this director's screen, and it is like my bedroom growing up as a kid with all the art like taped to it from like different magazines and stuff. Like he puts
That
out
would
a
be
little,
Gia Grillo's fault.
yeah,
That's great.
but it was there, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
oh, we're curious, what's this? And he puts like this little video on this like the screen leading up to it. There's a song leading everything in, and this is like the first time anyone, I mean, like Stu has always played music in the background, some friggin' incredible soundtracks as we played for like all those years, but like this is like the first time where it's just like, oh, this is Iron Maiden playing UFO before they take the stage, like, and I'm
Well,
like,
yeah.
what's going on? And
Yeah.
then by the time he gets us into it, we were into it, and we were not an easy group to come
Mm.
into cold and run something completely foreign to us and what it was. And especially like around that time, 7 years ago, I mean, granted, I'm sure that there's been story games since Christ left Pittsburgh, but
Yeah.
the zeitgeist of the story game had not really overtaken tabletop RPGs yet 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was like, so it's not Cthulhu and it's not Dungeons. It's like, it was definitely like a very, very cool, I think, and I credit him to this day for it, like introducing me to story games. But bro, he friggin' drove it home that night. We were just floored by that shit.
But I think what when I cut you off, you were making the point how easy it was that Sean like came in, like set the stage, and then like gave us these rules, and boom, we were in it. No friction.
Yeah.
Well, it's also something that we do talk about is like the ritual of it. So the theme song, that is very much something that we suggest that you do as part of the game, because it creates this sort of this door in between you and your life and your phone and everything and the world of the game.
Yeah.
And it becomes ritual. Sean has a fucking habit of like getting songs into his players' heads, and when we like hear them elsewhere, we're like, oh shit, what the hell? Monster, what?
Yeah. It's pretty cool. This is a very special experience.
And it's something that we say. And like that's something else that we like to play with some of the like the other intrinsic rules of the Omni system, like the tracking error. So the tracking error was born of giving people something to do when they are not in the action, because it happens. Party gets split. That's just what happens in a role-playing game. But with a tracking error, what you can do is you're not involved in the scene, but you're interested in it, and you'd like to affect it. So you just grab a handful of dice, and every gamer is like, dice falling, things are happening. It's a Pavlovian thing. Yeah. You do that and you say tracking error, and then you can affect the action in some small way. You cannot remove agency from any of the players who are interacting, but you can do something small that's bad, which most people do because assholes.
Garbage hearts.
Yeah,
Garbage
garbage
hearts,
hearts.
man.
You can do something small that's good. You can offer to play an NPC, which can be a really fun thing if you're like, oh, this is kind of a longer scene. But if there's a bartender, and then you ask the GM, can I play the bartender? And sometimes the bartender like has something specific to say to the kids, and he's like, well, no, you can play the bouncer though. And then that like keeps you involved as part of the game, even when you're not in it. So that one's been really fun. And like, it's not an every time rule. People forget to use it a lot, but when they remember and just slide it in there, and like you hear all those dice fall, and you're like, oh no. It's kind of a fun, fast one on the GM too. Like, I know that GMs don't necessarily need any fast ones when dealing with players. Having just been GMing way more than I ever have in my life this last year because I've been running my own friggin' game, as one should, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Players are the worst, right?
The worst.
Yeah, sometimes. But like, honestly, I have had a good time. While I do still get nervous about it, I've had games that have been just sort of super vibey, like really cool games where everybody's just like trying to do the right thing. I also literally had a game that turned into a Guar video, swear to God. It was just like blood front to back.
Okay,
Is Guar a touchstone for this?
I was going to say, can you eat Guar in Holomatixx?
You can. You absolutely can. Okay, so here is one of the things that going back to the unhinged aspect of Pink Isle play. So one of the things with the Omni system is there is relationship table, because you're not meeting for the first time in a bar, because we have this setting of mundanity. Everybody knows each other from like school or whatever. With Holomatixx, there is an array of relationship tables, so you can kind of choose the dramatic flavor of your game a little bit to start with. So there's like the standard one where you're a normal kid and like this weird thing happens to you. Then we've got the more like gem flavored one where like, you're a twin, or you inherited a thing, or you're a mysterious orphan, or you might be a princess. We've got a shoujo flavored one where, you have mysterious power. You don't know what. And then like things get dark. There's like more noir flavored, and the one that we've been a little scared to write yet, but we plan to, is the Satanic Panic one, which is when you start to have a body count. So you can really like, obviously players talk with the director and like decide where they want to go with it, but it really kind of gives you that first setting for what you want your drama level to be, and how light, how dark, how frenetic you want it to be. But because there was this level of like, and you could have like nice, gentle Pink Isle play, but you had to decide, because, if someone decided that they wanted to be the orphan and they weren't going to get to be the orphan, then they were going to cry about it, and then you would have to deal with that. So it's,
every kid gets bored, and eventually, someone gets the idea of like, well, maybe we can put this toy in the street and see what happens when a car runs over it. Like that's beyond, that's universal.
Obviously things can change, and like stories that start out light can get heavy, and vice versa. But I enjoyed the like providing this ability to sort of pick your path. A little soups on a choose your own adventure to add into it, like further than we've gone before with the relationship tables.
Well, very cool. So Holomatixx, by the time you are listening to this, do dear listener, you have been on Kickstarter for about a week. Had a strong first day, got about a third of the way there to goal. I'm extremely confident that you guys will either be there or close to it by the time this episode airs next week. I highly recommend this. Having, again, you've heard my anecdote about how Sean Jaffe's blown my mind with Rememorex. I'm confident that the amount of love and passion and support that they put into these last several games, Commandroids, Rememorex, they're going to put into this as well. Some cool stuff for you to check out on the Kickstarter itself. This is something that I don't see a lot of people doing, and I wish more would. You could actually get a free Holomatixx character sheet, free Holomatixx band sheet, Holomatixx character creation guide. So if you're curious about the system, if you're curious about the game itself, I mean, there's resources right there for you on the Kickstarter itself. So you're not going to walk away empty-handed no matter what you do here.
Heck yeah.
Megan, you are going to be out and about, though. You're going
to
be doing some shows and making some appearances about this. You're going to be stopping by Rook and Rasp, who are absolutely lovely.
They're so great. I love those guys.
Streaming Holomatixx. And if you're out and about in Origins, you're going to Origins Game Fair, 20th, 21st, 22nd. You're running Holomatixx there?
I'm running Holomatixx, 3 games of Holomatixx. So get your tickets while you can.
Very cool. All right, Megan, it's been great talking to you. And, we said before we got on the air tonight, we all should hang out more, but we all put our heads down and just keep working. But where can I know where to find you? Because, we're quasi neighbors. Where can people find you on social media? Where can they learn more about Holomatixx?
All right. You can find us on Nerdy City on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. And you can also find our website at nerdycity.com. All of our books are available on Drive-Thru RPG. And our Kickstarter is live at Kickstarter Nerdy City Projects Holomatixx: A New Wave Order. And we hope you give us a look. And we have a Patreon. So if you do like our stuff, we are continually updating information of new strange towns and mods and various other things that you can do in our crazy little 80s America.
And we'll have links to all of that in the show notes.
Well, this is another amazing episode of the Vintage RPG Podcast. Where can people find you on the internet?
They could find me at vintagerpg.com. It's like the Instagram used to be, except less aggravating, and mine, and you could blow the pictures up and like zoom in on them, and there's no evil corporation involved. It's great, and there's a newsletter you could just sign up for, and we're having lots of fun, and that's my home.
Well, very cool. You can find me across the internet at John McGuire RPG. I even just joined Kara because we're going to see how that goes.
Fingers crossed, man. Tell me how that works out for you.
I don't know, man. I have little hope for social media these days. But I'm out and about in the world. I think I'm kind of done with cons until the fall. I'm definitely going to be if you have any plans on making it out to ShireCon, I'll be ripping it at ShireCon. I may be ripping it down at PAX Unplugged. If you are in
we'll definitely be at PAX Unplugged.
Yeah. And saying that now we have to meet up because we're friends and we have to leave our houses and say hello to each other. If you are in the Pennsylvania area looking for something fun to do next year, I am going to be a guest at Page once again. If you want to get a little discount ski on a ticket for it, it's Vintage RPG, good for $15 off any badge. Dude's got over 50 guests right now, over 200 games getting ready to rock and roll. And it's a little later in the month, and God willing, it doesn't snow again. But Page 2 coming your way. Vintage RPG, good for $15 off any badge. If you like the show, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Your reviews really do help other listeners to find us. If you really like the show, want to become a patron, patreon.com/vintagerpg. We got a behind-the-scenes look at everything that Stu's working on. Also, reminders for you to sign up for the website because that's where you're going to actually see Stu's posts every single day. We've got a behind-the-scenes look at the things I'm working on. We have a killer Discord community that we'd love for you to be a part of. Stu's tier lets you jump in on a West Marches game with him once, actually a few times a month. Or how often do you run it, Stu?
Basically weekly.
Yeah. My tier has a monthly game. I play a different RPG every single month. So this month we're doing a makeup for last month when I lost my voice. If you've heard that previous episode, you understand. And so we're going to be playing Ninja City next week. And then we're going to be playing something different later in the month. Also, new release episodes every week for as little as $1 a month. You get them early, sometime on Friday or Saturday, depending on when Stu and I record them during the week. Patreon.com/vintagerpg. So for Stu Horvath, I'm John Hambone McGuire. May the dice always roll in your favor.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Every review helps other listeners to find us. The Vintage RPG Podcast is a ham-fisted production. Music by Dega West. Art by Schaefer Brown. If you like the podcast, you should also consider becoming a patron at patreon.com.